when our husbands left for a 2-week business trip, I never expected my life to change forever. My name is Sophie, and I've been married for 6 years. My husband and I were close friends with another couple, Laura and her husband, Michael. They lived just across the street, and we did everything together. Dinners, barbecues, even vacations. Laura and I were practically sisters. When our husbands left, we promised to keep each other company. 2 lonely wives surviving the silence, she joked, smiling that beautiful, dimpled smile of hers. I laughed, not knowing how true her words would become. At first, it was simple. We cooked together, watched movies, and talked late into the night, sharing secrets we'd never told anyone else. But as the days passed, something began to shift. The air between us started to feel different, heavier. I started to notice her in a way I never had before, her infectious laughter that filled the quiet rooms, the softness of her hands when they accidentally brushed against mine, the way her hair fell into her eyes when she leaned over the stove. There was a new current flowing between us, something I couldn't quite name. One evening, we were having wine at her house. The rain was tapping gently against the window, a soft rhythm accompanying the slow song playing in the background. The atmosphere was cozy, intimate. She looked at me, her eyes reflecting the dim light of the lamp, and said, "Isn't it strange how quiet the world feels without them?" I nodded, feeling the same hollowness. "Too quiet," I replied. There was a pause, a comfortable silence that said more than words could. Then she sighed, a sound full of a longing I recognized all too well. "Sometimes I wonder if they even see us anymore." Her words hit something deep inside me, unlocking a feeling I had buried for years. I knew that ache, the quiet pain of being loved but not truly seen, of being a part of a couple but feeling invisible. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw my own loneliness mirrored in her eyes. Before I could stop myself, the words tumbled out, soft but certain. "I see you, Laura." She smiled faintly, but her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "Do you?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. The silence that followed was heavy, charged with unspoken emotions. I could feel the air between us grow warm, electric. It felt like the world had stopped spinning, like everything was holding its breath. She reached out, her fingers warm, and gently brushed a drop of wine from my lip with her thumb. My own breath caught in my throat. My heart started pounding against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the quiet room. For a moment, a split second that felt like an eternity. I thought she'd pull away, but she didn't. Instead, she leaned in and kissed me. It was soft at first, tentative and unsure, a question. And then, as I responded, it deepened, becoming real and solid and undeniable. My heart raced, a wild bird trapped in a cage. The world outside disappeared, the rain, the soft music, everything but her. It was just the two of us, in our own little universe. When she finally pulled away, both of us were shaking, breathless. "This is wrong," she murmured, her forehead resting against mine. "I know," I said, my voice trembling, "but I don't want to stop." For the next few days, we tried to pretend that nothing had happened. We went back to our usual routines, but it was impossible. We couldn't erase the memory of that kiss. Every glance lingered a second too long. Every accidental touch burned like a brand. The space between us was filled with a new, unspoken tension, a mix of fear and desire that was both terrifying and exhilarating. We were walking on a tightrope, and we both knew it. One night, after another shared dinner, I walked her to her door. The moon was full, casting long shadows across her lawn. We stood there for a moment in the silence, neither of us wanting to say good night. Then she turned to me, her expression unreadable in the pale light, and said, "Come in." Her voice was quiet, but it held a world of meaning. And in that moment, I knew there was no turning back. I followed her inside. That night, we crossed every line we had ever drawn for ourselves. It wasn't wild or reckless. It was quiet and tender and full of all the emotion we had both buried for years. It was a rediscovering of ourselves and each other. We moved with a gentleness, a reverence, as if we were handling something precious. For the first time in so long, I felt alive. I felt seen. I felt wanted, not as a wife or a friend, but as me. Just me. It was a feeling I had forgotten existed. But morning came, as it always does, and with it came the harsh light of reality. She sat at the edge of the bed, her back to me, her shoulders slumped. I watched as a tear traced a path down her cheek. "When they come back," she said softly, her voice thick with regret, "we have to forget this ever happened." I wanted to argue, to scream that we couldn't just erase something so profound. But I knew she was right, so I just nodded, even though my heart felt like it was breaking into a million pieces. When our husbands returned, everything went back to normal, at least on the surface. We smiled at the right times. We hosted dinners again, and we all laughed at the same old jokes. We played our parts perfectly. We pretended nothing had changed between us, but everything had changed every time our eyes met across the dinner table. The truth was, there an unspoken secret, a shared memory, something eternal that no one else could ever understand. We never spoke of it again. We locked it away in a hidden corner of our hearts. But sometimes when she's watering the flowers in her garden and she looks up and waves at me as I pass, I remember the quiet nights, the soft rain against the window, the feeling of her lips on mine. It was a chapter of our lives that was never meant to last. It was a stolen moment in time. But for a little while, two women left alone in the quiet found the courage to truly feel again, and that's a memory I'll carry with me forever. Thank you for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Take care.